I'm trying to pose with the coffee to get a nice picture for the thumbnail, but I'm so worried I'm going to spill it all over myself. Okay, so hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. My name is Katarina. Today I wanted to sit down and have a little chat with you. I do have a life update and just in general I have not been able to have a chat with you about other than beauty related things in a long time. I was supposed to film this video as a Chattig get ready with me and I actually filmed one yesterday, edited through it for the first round and it was just awful. If there's a lot of things that I want to talk about, like I want to talk about in today's video, it's really hard for me to focus when I'm doing my makeup at the same time. I may forget something that I was supposed to say, or then I may end up rambling about something that I shouldn't be rambling, for example about the product. That's why I'm filming this just as a sit-down video. I'm going to give you a little life update, and not so little even. There's some big changes coming in our life. But in general, because I have not been as active with YouTube, I just want to let you know what is going on in my life currently. And I am drinking my coffee. It is a pretty warm day. We have finally gotten nice and warm weather here in Finland, but I still need my hot coffee. This is actually my fourth cup today. And yes, I am a coffee addict and I am not even embarrassed to admit that. Today there's kind of like three topics that I do want to talk about. So one is my work/studying situation. The second one is our life update, which is a pretty big one. Well, you can see it from the thumbnail and I have mentioned it a couple of times that we will be moving. And then the third topic of today is how all of this is affecting my YouTube channel. Let's first start with my studying/work situation. I am studying in what is called University of Applied Sciences, and once I graduate, my degree will be a Bachelor of Business Administration. I am now in the really end of my studies, and in our studies we do need to do an internship for 5 months, and I got this amazing opportunity to work as an audit trainee for the first 5 months of the year, and that is the way I did my internship, and that really kept me busy because I was working in auditing for full time. I really did enjoy it, and right now I do see that auditing could be a career path for me. I actually would really love it, but currently getting jobs is difficult, so of course I am open to other opportunities too. After the internship ended in the end of May, I actually got back to my old job in a clothing store. So I worked there part-time now in summer until midway through September. The hours in my contract are quite small, but in June I actually had more work what I thought I would have. And I wasn't really able to study at that time because of that. And anyways, after the training program and after some courses that I had to do in spring, because yes, I did still study the entire spring, meanwhile I was doing the internship, I just felt that my brain needs a little rest. So in June there were a few weeks when I didn't really do that much when it comes to studies, but now I have gotten back to it and I'm actually working on my thesis. That is the main big thing that is still left before I graduate, and I am doing my thesis related to auditing. I am working on the theory part. In the end of the summer I will be doing some interviews and then there's a lot of writing that I need to do. Originally I wanted to get it ready by the end of September. Now I don't think I can necessarily quite do that, but if I could get it done by fall leave, which is typically around midway or end of October, that would actually be amazing. The deadline for my graduation is by December, but I do want to graduate before that, but that is like the official time when I should be done. So yeah, that's what's going on currently in my studying and work life. Maybe in another video I will talk about working in a clothing store again. I do notice it provoking some thoughts. Maybe in future I don't want to work somewhere where I constantly get exposed to consumerism. But maybe that is a topic that I can talk about in another video. But now let's get into the big life update, which is the move, of course, and this is something that I have mentioned for you for a couple of times. We do live currently in the southern part of the region of Pirkanmaa in Finland. We are moving from here to the city of Kuopio, which is located in the region of Pohjois-Savo, North-Savo. So it is about 350 kilometers from where we do live right now. So we're really excited about the move, and I did want to talk about our reasons for the move a little bit, why we are so excited. Maybe also I will touch on some of the downsides, but basically we do want to change the area where we live completely. We also do want to move from a small town in the countryside to not a big city, and maybe people in Helsinki will disagree, but I don't think there even are big cities in Finland. Helsinki is of course the biggest one, but it's not like we have New York cities or Paris or London or anything like that here. But we do want to move from countryside back to city, and I want to explain that to you a little bit. But then also we do want to change a house, or maybe not the house, we do love our house, but we do want to change like the way of living. So let's unpack that a little bit. So let's start with the house. We do live currently in a detached house, which was our dream to live in one. So before we bought our house, we lived in the city of Tampere in a smaller apartment building. We did have a nice apartment there, about 5-6 kilometers from the city center. We actually really did love the location, but it was just time for us to get our own place, and we did want to buy a house. And it was kind of like a coincidence that we bought the house where we live in right now. We don't know, or we didn't know anyone from our current town. Pretty soon after moving in, we figured out that it is a lot of work that a detached house takes. And pretty soon after moving in, I started dreaming about hiring somebody else to clean our house, hiring a gardener. But previously we have not really been financially in a position to hire someone else. And now, while we might start to be in a position to buy that sort of service even a couple of times a month or even once a month, we don't necessarily want to spend our money to that, but we actually figured out that, you know what, maybe living in a detached house is not how we want to live. We don't want to move to an apartment building where we only do have the flat with no yard whatsoever, but we actually do want to instead move to a terraced house. Now, when I put that to Google, I saw these really typical British apartment complexes with these houses, and there was so many houses in one. I think they're a little bit different in Finland. Typically, they're a little bit smaller, not so many apartments in one, and it's just like a different style of buildings here than in the UK or in Central Europe. But we would like to move to a terraced house where we do have this little yard, but not a whole yard. We do still want to have space, but not quite so much space that we have right now. I thought before we moved here that all of the cleaning problems are going to be solved and all of the storing problems are going to be solved when we have more storage space and just more space in general. But it was quite the opposite. The more space we do have for storing everything, the more clutter it is, and the more it is just to take care of the house. So there's a lot of work around the house, just basic stuff like laundry and stuff like that that needs to be done anyways, no matter where you live. But then there's just overall more cleaning there's yard work, and I know for a lot of people gardening is a hobby and something that they get relaxed. For me, it would be a nightmare to have to use my time for something like that. And I know this might sound a little bit lazy for some of you, and maybe it is, I don't know. But it's not like I just want to lay on the bed, lay on the couch, watch TV and not do anything. But I would rather use my time when I'm not working or studying for something else than cleaning or yard work or stuff like that. I would rather use it for my hobbies, like going to gym, doing YouTube even, or then some other sort of sport I would like to try. I'm going to talk about that just a little bit later. And then of course our kids are starting to be at the age where hobbies are coming more current, and the bigger the kids get, the more the hobbies and taking them there and just doing all of the things around it will take time. So yeah, we would rather use our time for hobbies, just doing different things outside the house. So yeah, that's really why we have decided that living in a detached house is not for us. We dreamed about it for a long time, we were able to try it, but we learned through experience that for us it is not the best way of living. My coffee has become cold when I have been talking so much. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about why we don't want to live in the town where we live right now. Because of course we could sell our house and buy an apartment from where we live right now. However, where we do live, it's quite a distance to places where for us it is realistic to work. Where we do live, the great thing is that it's a pretty handy distance to a lot of different places nearby, but it's still not super close to anything. So it is quite a distance to work. Once I graduate, I probably could work from home, but I personally do not want that unless I get no other job. But I personally just do not want my work to come to home. So I want to go physically to work. Realistically, there's not the sort of job that I would want to do, or really any kind of job where I live right now. So I need to drive at least 20 kilometers. And to be honest, 20 kilometers I don't think is a big distance at all. However, the job opportunities within like 20 kilometers from our house are extremely limited. So we're talking more like 40, 50, 70 kilometers to cities where there actually might be a job for me. But also because we do live in a really small town, the opportunities for hobbies are really limited here. So for example, I would like to have more versatile hobbies. I have been going to gym right now and that is something I do really enjoy, but I would also like to go to workout classes. And then also I was already talking about the kids' hobbies in here. The chances for those are really limited, so we want to move somewhere where there's just more options to choose from. Okay, so if we just wanted to change from detached house to a terraced house and move from a smaller town to a little bit bigger city, of course we could move closer. We could maybe move to Tampere, which would make sense. We used to live in Tampere for about a decade together before moving to where we live right now. And my husband also is from that area. However, there's still one really big reason why we want to change the region and the area where we live completely and not just move to the closest city. So we want to move somewhere where we actually do like the climate more. And what I specifically mean with that is that we want to live somewhere where there is proper winter with snow. This past winter was really bad when it comes to snow. We got some snow in December, thankfully we did have a beautiful white Christmas, but then somewhere in January it started getting warmer and all of the snow melted away. We didn't really get a proper snow anymore after that, or even if we got something it melted away after a couple of days, and it was just so depressing. Because here's the thing, in Finland, in winter, it is going to be dark anyways, whether we have the snow and proper cold or not. But then if we don't have the cold weather and snow, it's just going to be muddy and grey and black and just absolutely disgusting weather for months and months in a row. We typically start having that sort of weather in the end of October, like around Halloween time. Pretty much all of the leaves from the trees have fallen and it's just grey and gross. And if we don't get any snow in winter, it's going to be like that until spring comes. And when spring really hits here in the southern part of Finland with all of the leaves in the trees, that is typically in the beginning of May. So it is going to be this really bare and disgusting and muddy weather for almost 6 months in a row, or even 6 months in a row. Sure, in spring a little bit more sunny and bright days, but nothing green in the nature really. It's just really depressing for me. And maybe it's my fault that I let the weather to affect my mood so much, but when I was thinking about my life, and I'm 33 years old now, so hopefully I will still have decades left. I mean, you never know. But do I want to live somewhere where there's not proper winters? And now, I will say, there has been many beautiful winters with a lot of snow where we do live right now. The last time that the winter was as awful as it was right now was in 2020. I think that year was even worse because now we at least got white Christmas and snow for about a month. But in 2020, if I remember correctly, everything that came melted away just after a couple of days. And I remember that back then I thought that, you know what, if the winters really become like this, I do not want to live in an area where there's no snow. Just to make it clear, not all of the winters are like this. However, right now all of the evidence points that the climate is getting warmer and the winters are getting shorter, and winters where there's no snow at all or the snow melts away pretty quickly are becoming more and more common here in southern Finland. While when you go towards north and towards east, it is going to be colder. Last winter, for example, there was proper snow in Kuopio. I know there were some issues with skiing and stuff like that, but at least there was snow. While in here, it looked like November, because it's going to be dark anyways. I would rather take extreme cold, but still a lot of snow and light coming from the snow than just gross, muddy weather for months and months in a row. I think for my husband, the weather conditions wouldn't be that big of a deal. However, he has his own reasons why he wants to move to Kuopio. So it just felt like a perfect fit for us. You know, I want my kids to have a chance to go to Pulkkamäki in winter. I want them to be able to do snowmen. That's the kind of winter that I had when I was a kid. I do come from the southwest coast of Finland, from the city of Rauma. When I was a kid, there was still proper winters in Rauma. These days, there has been winters, or there has been times in winter when everything, all of the snow had melted away in Rauma, but still here in Pirkanmaa, we did have some snow. So yeah, I know for a lot of you this might sound like a really absurd reason to move to a completely different area, but you know what, for us it makes perfect sense. And one reason why Kuopio makes sense for us is that actually we do have some family there. And that's why for my husband it was also kind of like a natural thing to want to move there. My husband has lived almost his full life in Pirkanmaa, near to Tampere, And I have lived first in Rauma and then in Tampere, so none of us have lived in Kuopio, but my father-in-law actually lives there. He has lived there for more than 20 years. My husband has two half brothers. I think they are 17 and 18. So because there is some family there, it felt like a natural choice for my husband to want to move there. And I will say, we have visited Kuopio typically once or twice a year. With kids it is quite a drive, not something we would like to do too often. But every time we have visited, we have just been amazed with how beautiful the city is. It is located in the area of Finland where there's lakes everywhere, and even when you go there you can feel and see that there's just water all around you. It is really beautiful, especially in summer, but also in winter. There's proper winter. Of course, summer is going to be slightly shorter there, not necessarily as much heat waves, but actually I don't mind that. I don't necessarily enjoy it too much when the weather gets like past 30 Celsius degrees. Maybe that's just me, but it's so beautiful there. We do have some family there. It is also relatively big city. I think it is the 8th largest in Finland with little bit more than 100,000 citizens. I know for a lot of you it might sound like a really small city, if you can even call it a city, but in Finnish standards it is really a city. There's some opportunities for me to study, do a master's degree in university. There's of course more chances for hobbies. Overall we just feel so happy. We actually visited Kuopio last week and the trip confirmed us that that is a place where we do want to build our life, and it just feels natural for us, and we're so excited about the move. We have listed our house right now and we will be moving once we're able to sell our house, or if we're not able to sell it by the end of the year, then we need to rent it and then just leave and move, because I will apply for jobs where the start would be in the beginning of the year. I mean, of course, no job currently is guaranteed. There's a lot of news about unemployment, but I try to stay positive and do my best what I can. But yeah, at least in the end of the year we will move. Hopefully we would have a chance to have our Christmas there. There's the joulutori, the Christmas tori. I don't know the English word for that. The Christmas market, yes, that it is. It is so beautiful in Kuopio. I just want to move and I'm so excited about it. But when the move will happen, we will see. Both my husband and I have our current contracts in work until midway through September. So the earliest point when we would be ready to move would be maybe October, but at least we need to go in the end of the year. Let's just hope we can sell our house before that. I also promised to talk to you a little bit about the downsides of the move, which is of course that most of our family and friends will stay behind where we do live right now, and well, most of them have taken our news about the move pretty well, and of course the family there in Kuopio are so happy about our move, especially my father-in-law, and he has a new wife who's also really excited. I think they're excited also because they don't have any grandchildren there, so yeah, now our kids will be going there. So of course they have been really happy, but then the people who live here have maybe been wondering why we want to move so far, but it's just where we live right now doesn't feel like the right place. While we have enjoyed it here, it has not felt like we want to spend here the rest of our life. And you know, our kids are still really small, so it is way easier for us to move right now when they are still small, when they don't really have best friends and all of that, when they have not started school. So I just think it makes sense to do it now and start building a life there. Okay, this video has already taken way longer what it should, but I still in the end of the video wanted to quickly talk about YouTube a little bit. So as you know, I have been busy and I will be busy still at least the next few months. I need to work on my thesis really hard, and then the move is of course going to take our time. so I'm not really able to commit to regular YouTube videos, and in fact I have decided to cut back on all of those videos that need updating monthly or close to monthly. So mainly my no-buy update videos. Actually, when I started my no-buy a few months ago, I felt that I probably need monthly updates, but now I don't necessarily feel like that. I have been pretty long on this no-buy and low-buy journey, and while there was a little slip up with my shopping last year and in the beginning of this year, it's not like all of the things that I have learned in the past while doing no-buys or low-buys or just otherwise being in this more mindful consumer journey. It's not like all of those things are completely forgotten and unlearned. It just took a while, and it just took starting the no-buy for me to get really back to the mindset where I want to be. And it's not like never buying anything, but it is about being really mindful about spending the money and then about the things that I own and bring into my life. And also my project pan, I decided that I'm going to quit it. You know, it's maybe something that I have done more for other people than for myself, because a lot of those products that in my project pan, I'm going to finish them anyways, whether they are in the project or not. And yeah, I feel right now I'm still going to continue those projects where there's updates in every 3 months. So my Pan That Face palette, where I'm panning some other cheek products too. Then my lip product project, which is more about just tracking the uses and progress. And then I did quit my Pan That palette and eyeshadow panning in general, but instead I decided to start updating you in every 3 months about my eyeshadow usage and challenge myself to do a no pan left behind with one of my palettes each season. So today, for example, I have created a look using a focus palette for this summer. So yeah, those projects are something that I am going to keep doing, and then quarterly updates for my makeup inventory. And I actually think that is probably for me the best way to keep up with my no-buy, because when I'm able to see the numbers regularly, compare the pictures regularly, see the numbers go down, that is so motivating. That is probably the most motivating thing for me, with saving money, of course. So I do think quarterly makeup inventory updates are something I see a huge benefit in for myself. So other than those videos that I will update in every 3 months, I think I kind of want to go with the flow. See what I really want to film, because for such a long time I feel I have built my filming schedule around different projects and updates, and I just want to have a little bit more relaxed approach to YouTube at this point. This is really the last thing that I should be stressing about and worrying about, and just do what makes me happy. Not worry about new subscribers, even though I'm of course grateful for anyone who subscribes to my channel, but not have really any goals for growing my subscriber account. Not take any pressure of views or AdSense money or anything like that. And I do think at some point I want to start filming a little bit more style content again. I do want to update you on my style journey. I will never be somebody who is going to film fashion haul videos and stuff like that, but I feel I am on a never-ending journey to find my personal style. So that's something I want to share with you. Okay, so this video has been super long. I need to get my kids from daycare and go on with the day, but it just felt good to sit down and properly chat with you about all of these things and not try to do my makeup meanwhile and get distracted and forget half of the things that I was supposed to say. So yeah, I promise I will keep you updated. Maybe now that I have been properly able to talk about everything, in future I will give the updates about the move and so on in Chattig Get Ready With Me, for example. We will see. But I promise I will keep you updated when something happens. Now it's kind of like we are waiting and not sure what's going to happen next. But yeah, that's everything for today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye bye.